Who was the distributor you worked for?
Rated R Glass.
Okay.
Yeah, they're my homies, and I share a shop with them and few other artists.
Nice.
But, those guys, they taught me how to make pipes and gave me an opportunity to rent a space there and to do it. And we've been close friends ever since. So.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about them. I like their work a lot. It's I was doing some Bloody Finger zombie one-hitters years ago, and
nice.
And I saw them have their, like, I saw this Rated R glass. I'm like, oh, what's this? And I went on there and looked at all the stuff, and I was like, hell yeah, like a whole gore line of glass. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah. They're still pretty popular, It's pretty incredible. They've been doing those for a while, and people love them still. And cool thing is they give all these new artists opportunities to design their own pieces and then get them out in the hands of thousands of people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we could talk about them too if you want. I don't want to necessarily get into like too much talk about another company, but like your interaction with them and being your friends and stuff. I'm all about bringing it up.
I wouldn't be here without them, and I've learned so much from them that it's tough to talk about myself and my path without mentioning them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's what I was wanting to ask, because if it was like, some companies don't like to be mentioned in certain situations, whatever it is, so I just figured I'd bring it up. So
no, I mean, I'm not here to, they're great guys. I'm not here to do a commercial for them or nothing.
Right.
but I mean, yeah, they're not going to mind.
Cool. Actually, what I'll do too. Do they sell your work as well, or are you strictly just selling your own stuff?
I just switched over to selling my own stuff in October. They had been selling my designs for 2.5 years, but I decided I kind of wanted to go solo and wanted to kind of take charge of my own career a little more.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Cool. Yeah.
And my distribution is perfect for where I was for a while, but I'm starting to grow out of it and had to make that jump. So.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, cool, dude. Let's get rolling. You are ready? You ready?
Yep.
This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard, whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast. We have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show. This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by Green Flash Glass. The Green Flash Glass logo is a symbol of quality because they take pride in their craftsmanship and stand behind their products. Made in the USA, Green Flash Glass builds relationships based on trust, integrity, and respect. With over 15 years of experience and an amazing team of artists, Green Flash Glass backs up their work with 100% quality guarantee, friendly responsive customer service, and high-quality products at an affordable price. For more info, go to greenflashglass.com. That's greenflashglass.com. I am in the middle of listening to my free audiobook I downloaded at audibletrial.com/WiseGuyRadio, and that's WYZGUI radio. The reason I'm saying this is because if you want to be a part of our book club that we're doing, which is our audio book club, why not go to and download your free 30-day trial at audibletrial.com, where they have over 180,000 plus publications, magazines, books, all kind of good stuff. And figure, since you guys are listening to this podcast, you obviously listen to downloadable audio on your phones or iPads or computers. Go to audibletrial.com, audibletrial.com/WiseGuyRadio, audibletrial.com/WiseGuyRadio. And that's audibletrial.com/WYZGUIRadio.com. What is going on? How are you today? Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show, episode number 53. This is Jay Michael, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is an honor to be here with you today. With close to 17 years of experience behind the torch and tons of successes and failures, and my neighbor's driving by the house while I'm trying to record, I am here to share the successes and failures of other artists and their stories, along with mine, and Hope you guys will come along on this journey and adventure as we learn valuable lessons and grow as artistic entrepreneurs. And also as we all learn how to define and design our ultimate ideal lifestyle as artists. And as glass artists, we have a unique ability to do that, especially in today's economy and industry as we all grow together. Today's show features glass artist Joe Skar, also known as Skar Glass on Instagram. You can find him there. He's been behind the torch for around 10 years now, and especially the last 5, he's been on his own full-time. He was repped by Rated R Glass for a while, and just within the past month has recently jumped on his own, now repping his own glass. And we get into that conversation and also get into talks about the studio that he works in and the amazing circle of artists that he has around him as well. We get into some adventures he's had with those guys in the shop, as well as some of the art that they've been creating. And they're also about to move into a brand new big-ass studio. So he's pretty excited about that as well. And Joe is a super, super awesome guy, very humble husband and father, and just an overall super awesome artist. And you see his work on Instagram. Again, his Instagram is @Skar Glass. That's SKAR Glass. So it's pretty cool, man. It was a good conversation. Good to get to know him. And like I said, he has some pretty fun stuff to talk about. And it's always fun for me to talk with these artists. You know, it's being an artist myself and getting to really know the community, and being that I've been, again, doing this for close to 17 years now, and just now in my life has decided to get out and explore the community and the industry. And as come January, February, I'm going to start heading out to the trade shows and what have you. And I really find that this medium is kind of helping me get my gumption together, in a sense, to get out and really explore everybody and get to meet and greet and talk to folks. And so, again, it's an honor to be here to share their stories with you, and my stories too, as I grow as a human and a man and a glass artist and a husband and a father and all that good shit. So, you know, it's fun to be here. So, again, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to go to Green Flash Glass, who is our awesome sponsor for the podcast here. If you are a connoisseur and you would like to have their glass in your hands, just go to your local retail smoke shop and let them know to go to greenflashglass.com, where they can find their glass on there at a really good wholesale price. And there's my wife calling in on her lunch break. We'll call her back in a sec. Today, I went for my walk, did my new routine, and I'm just super excited and pumped up and feel good today. So just wanted to share it with you guys and share the love. So I think that's about it. So don't forget, Green Flash Glass. They are our number one first sponsor and will always be in my heart forever and ever. GreenFlashGlass.com. They are a super awesome company out of Tallahassee, Florida, creating a super high-end product at a very affordable price. And if you guys, again, want their products in your hands, go to your local retail stores, have them go to greenflashglass.com and place an order now. greenflashglass.com. And don't forget to go to wiseguyradio.com and subscribe to our newsletter. This entire month of November, I will be putting out, and actually from here on out, I'm putting out newsletters with every single podcast episode that I put out. And on each newsletter, you will get a chance to see how you can go online, help me, help you, help me, by going on and doing something that takes about 5 minutes to do of your time, and I will have a little thank you gift in the very end once you can prove to me that you did what you said you did, if that makes any sense. So just go to wiseguyradio.com, WYZGUI radio.com, subscribe to our newsletter. We are on board now. I got back on track with the website as well, so we're getting all of our artist shows up there and uploaded, and then we will also be slowly getting all of these podcast episodes up there so you guys can have the content in our little bank of shows, as well as some advertisements and some sales and ads and all kind of fun shit on there. So there you guys go. Oh, yeah, and don't forget, you guys need to go on there, for all you artists out there that shipping packages, go on to our resource page. We finally fixed a little bug we had where you can download the printable little paper kind of waiver thingy that's on there. That you should include in every package that you send. And again, as always, this is not any type of legal advice coming from myself or any lawyers. It is just a simple waiver form that begins the process of all of us covering our asses as we evolve, as the laws evolve out there in the world of glass. So again, episode 53. My guest today is Joe Skar, also as AKA on Instagram. He is known as Skar Glass. Go check him out. Give him a follow. Give him some love. You guys enjoy the show. Happy Monday and the rest of the week. If you're listening to this on a Tuesday through Sunday, then happy whatever day it is you're listening to the show. And kick some ass, take some names, make some checklists, get some stuff done, go for a walk, drink a lot of water, and hug and kiss and tell the ones around you that you love them. And I love you guys. Thank you again for hanging with me and being here and supporting me. Enjoy this episode 53 of the Wise Guy Radio Show, and I will see you guys in episode number 54. Take it easy. Peace. What's going on, Joe? How are you today, brother?
Hey, J. Michael, how's it going? I'm good.
Yeah, man, same here. So you're sitting at a park chilling out a little bit after an early morning shift?
Yeah, I'm chilling in my car. It's kind of windy out. I don't want to get hit with a limb out there, so I'm going to chill in my car and kind of watching the squirrels hang out and stuff. It's really nice.
Nice, hell yeah. So whereabouts in the world are you in Washington there?
I'm in Bellingham, which is about as northwest as you can go in Washington, and Washington's about as northwest as you can go in the continental United States. I'm about as far away in the U.S. as I can get from you.
Nice. Yeah, I'd say so, dude. We're like on opposite ends of the country, spectrum-wise.
Yeah. I'm right up in the corner there, though. It's a huge glass-blowing town. There's tons of glass blowers here.
Hell yeah. You ever get a chance to go up to Canada or BC or anything like that?
I've been up a couple times, I've traveled a lot back before I was really into glass. And nowadays, I don't really have as much time to travel. And I got kids now, too, so I don't really travel as much as I used to.
Yeah, man.
I go there from time to time. Went to the aquarium. Aquarium's awesome up there, and beautiful parks, and Vancouver's gorgeous. So, yeah, it's nice.
Hell yeah. Right on, dude. Well, before we get too distracted here with everything else, you want to give us a little background on yourself and when and where you got started and who kind of introduced you to the flame?
Yeah. Well, I first discovered flame working in 1999, where I met an old hippie dude who was a flame worker. He was straight out of Eugene, and he was doing fuming stuff and wrapping rakes and stuff, and I was just kind of blown away by the physics of how the glass worked and the moltenness of it and all that cool stuff. And I kind of was just a fanboy. I watched him work a lot and asked him lots of questions, but never really saw myself much as a glass blower. I was really, I was really into it, but I didn't really think it was something I was going to get into personally. And, in 2005, some 5-6 years later, I decided to finally sit down on a torch and kind of play around. And so, I had a good opportunity to do that. I had a shop available to me that nobody was using, and still had gases and stuff in it. And so I just started making little, marbles and pendants and stuff, and I really dug it. And it was just kind of a fun little hobby for me. And then about 5 years later, in 2010, I just kind of started taking it more seriously. I started, I subscribed to the flow, and I started going to websites and checking out other people's works and stuff like that. And, it became more than a hobby at that point, or more than just like a thing I did in some free time. It became something that was like kind of a part of who I was, Yeah. And then 2013, I was approached by a distributor, Rated R Glass, and they were looking for people to make them fumey spoons. And I hadn't even made a pipe up until that point. I was only working solid, doing lots of sculptural stuff. And I was like, yeah, that might be a cool opportunity. So they taught me how to make spoons. They taught me how to fume, and they taught me all the basics. And I started designing my own pieces, and I used my sculptural stuff that I already knew to design a bunch of dabbers and stuff for them. And kind of been going ever since. This last month is I finally stopped doing spoons and dabbers, and I'm starting to make one-off rigs and nicer Sherlocks and stuff like that now.
Heck yeah.
So it's been a while since, I first got into it in 99, and I feel like it's not until now that I'm like, really going full bore at it.
Heck yeah. What were you doing job-wise before, like even in 2005 when you first started doing glass?
Man, I had so many horrible jobs. I worked in the mall for a long time. Yeah. I was a mall manager at Spencer Gifts. I sold fart machines and big mouth Billy Basses and stuff. That was the worst. And then I briefly worked at a bookstore. I loved that, but after that I worked at a pet store, and I hated that.
Mm-hmm.
It was disgusting. And ferrets are the worst. There was ferrets everywhere.
Oh God, yeah, they smell. No offense to anybody that owns them, but yeah, they make me sneeze and they stink.
Nothing's worse than starting. That's the thing. It's like you'd smell that smell, and it just I questioned everything I did up in my life to lead me to that point where I had to start every morning by smelling ferrets,
Yeah.
and it was, just you go in on a Tuesday morning at 9, first thing you got to do is clean up ferret shit, and it's just you really got to think about life at that point.
Yeah, don't they actually like bathe in their own piss or something weird? Like they have like a gland that they like.
They're kind of like skunks. I mean, they're descented when you
Uh-huh.
get them, but they smell rodenty, I guess.
Yeah.
Like a kind of like a dirty dog or something, like a dog that's been rolling in something.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just shit everywhere constantly.
Hmm.
They just, that's their thing.
Fun.
After that, I worked at a shipping store for a long time, and that's how I met my distributor. They'd come in and drop off glass with us, and one day I was just like, oh, I blow glass too, and they started talking to me, and then they approached me a couple times before finally I was like, yeah, let's learn how to do this. Let's take it for serious. So
Huh.
I,
That's pretty interesting, bro. That path to get you to a point to where then you meet the guys that you start working for. It's pretty badass.
yeah, and it was at that point I kind of was like, yeah, fuck this. I quit my job, and I started selling what stuff I had accumulated over the years to support myself until my skills got to where they needed to be. And I took it seriously, and I recognized that it was something I loved and that it truly made me happy, and I'd never looked back.
What was initially inspiring your first styles you were doing, your pendants and stuff?
Oh yeah, and I'm really glad I have that foundation from those years from thinking around and just making that stuff, because I had something to bring to the table when I finally did start making pipes.
Yeah, it's a big deal because like I always preach just to start off on solid work first, and then once you get the solid foundation, because you really learn the glass, then you get into hollow. And I know a lot of guys out there that are amazing, fucking, I mean, like mind blowing sculptures, lamp work wise. But then you get them into some hollow glass, and they're kind of like it's like Chinese to them. It's interesting.
It was a tough transition. I felt like a beginner all over again.
Yeah.
And I basically, that's been about 2.5 years now since I've been, since I made my first spoon. And a lot of it just feels like I just want to be able to make, I want to be able to make the canvas to put my solid attachments on. I want to be able to have something to showcase my solid work.
Yeah, dude. Well, the canvas that you're making is badass, I gotta say.
Thank you.
So yeah, for a little bit of time that you've been doing the hollow work, but again, you've got like almost 10 years or whatever, of solid work behind you now. So it's it makes a huge difference.
And it's not just time behind the torch, but I've just spent so much time watching others work.
Mm-hmm.
And my shop mates are all really talented people, and they're willing to share with me any information they have. Any technique I want to know, they'll show me. I've got it easy. I kind of lucked out. I don't know how I ended up in such a good place, to be honest. I don't know why they keep me there. I don't know why they keep me there.
I think it was the selling fart machines and Billy Basses, and then going into dealing with smelly fucking stinky animals to lead you to. Because I mean, shit, dude. I'm sure you learned skills though just in those jobs. Managerial skills and whatever. Being organized, like all that kind of shit. Working your ass off to then now where you're at now. I mean, I always say that too. It's like amazing. Like you look at your path that you've been on and trials and tribulations and all the fun you've had, but like all that shit adds up to where you are right now in your life, and it really makes a big difference. It
really does.
Gives you appreciation.
Yeah, it gives
for
me a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
In fact, I still live really close to the pet store, and every now and then when I'm frustrated with glass, I'll just stroll through the pet store just to remind myself what the alternative is.
Oh yeah, dude, that's beautiful. Hell yeah.
But no, I'm really lucky to be in my shop. I'm really lucky to have those resources available to me. They sell raw glass in my shop. I don't ever have to order glass online. I can just walk into the office, weigh out what I need, and write it down on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's worked out really well for me, and that's one of the reasons I've just had it really easy. If there's any, like I said, if there's any tech I want to know, there's someone there that's just willing to show me how to do it.
How many guys are in there working?
I think there's 6 of us right now. It's myself and the people that started Rated R Glass, just Spiller Woods, Annie, and her husband, Sagan Glass, and his apprentice, Elwin Glass, awesome dude, and then Jeff Mellett's Art Glass is in there,
Yeah.
and John Dosa just is the last guy to join our shop. He's just next level. He's just beyond anything I've seen before. He's incredible.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's just some incredible talent I'm in there with. Like I said, I don't know why they keep me in there. I think I'm the security guard. I don't know. Somebody mentioned that I did security once, and I just went along with it because I think that might be the reason I'm there. I'm not sure.
You need to get a little shirt that has like security on the back of it or some shit when you're in there working.
Yeah, yeah. It's I just kind of like I said, I'm not going to question it because I don't want to. Security guards one of those jobs where if you're doing it right, they won't notice you're doing it at all. So I think I'm doing a really good job at it.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I know like years ago we have the Dale Chihuly collection. It was like at the time was like the only permanent collection, whatever, and in the world. And I was a security guard there, but I also did like docent training and did tours, and we wore like a normal nice clothing, so nobody knew we were security except for when I'd walk around and ask people not to touch stuff. But it's like you're saying, you kind of like you almost got to just blend in and do your thing, and nobody knows you're actually security if you're knowledgeable enough.
Yeah. Yeah, including myself. I don't.
Yeah, exactly. Even you don't know it.
Yeah. No. Honestly, I love being there though. They're great guys and gals, and they're all really talented artists. And every day I'm there. I'm lucky to be there, and I'm happy to be there. So.
Hell yeah! Were you a part of Sagan's his launch that he did with his pennants?
Yep, I was. One of my pennants went into space with him. Actually.
Oh man, that's fucking awesome, bro! I'm so jealous.
Me and him were sitting around talking about cool things to do with glass, and I suggested to him that maybe he should make a space station replica and send it up to the space station, and that was a little ambitious, but he was like, I don't think that's ever gonna happen, but I've heard about people sending glass into space via weather balloons, and we started looking into it, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. He really wanted a picture of his moon in front of the Earth, and
dude.
he made it happen.
Yeah,
and,
bro. Like I watched that whole fucking thing go down, and I was just like, at the edge of my seat. Like I love space and launch, and like we just had a Saturn V rocket launch off about 2 weeks ago at like 6 o'clock in the morning. As I have some pictures on my Instagram as I'm like heading to school with my kids, and I heard about it on the news before we left, but when I saw it, I had like a mild panic attack. I mean, like everything went down, like everything from because I've got MacDill Air Force Base here, and there's always been threats and shit. So I'm like, oh my god, we're getting fucking nuked. Like there was all this shit. Like within the span of like 2 seconds, I like died and came back to life. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh wait a second, that's the Saturn V rocket going off, But it was fucking amazing seeing this thing at 6 a.m. It's like it's something that you don't get to see that often, and the fact that I get to live in Florida, that we get the opportunity to see that kind of shit. But to be a part of that with Sagan, dude, that's like when he first came out and I saw his work, and I don't want to like talk about him all day, but I was wondering like how is he doing what he's doing, and then I started researching his work, and then like seeing videos and talking to people and getting to know his work even more so. But then seeing his background and his whole thing with space and launching rockets and weather balloons and shit, I was like completely fanboy intrigued by this kid and the stuff he's doing. And then seeing the work he does, his solo work, even just adding his moons and stuff, and it's. So yeah, man, it's you're definitely blessed to be in that studio with all those cats, including yourself, bro. I mean, like I said, you're for being hollow working for only 2 years, your work's amazing.
I've got the fire under my ass. I work with a bunch of ballers, so I've definitely got some catching up to do, But I'm totally stoked, Like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Same with that, that balloon launch. I mean, that was just such a, that space launch. It was such an amazing opportunity to do that, and it was like an Indiana Jones style adventure. We were trudging through the desert and federal wildlife land in the middle of the night to try to find the thing, and scaling down cliffs and shit, and it was like a memory to last a lifetime, right up there with having my kids and stuff.
Yeah, I could imagine so. What was it, like 30 miles away or some shit when it landed? Some crazy number?
No, it was like 100 miles away. It was really far.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, we launched it from just east of the mountains here, Lake Chelan, I believe, and it landed near Spokane in an abandoned kind of wildlife area called Sprague, Washington. And it was scary, it was supposed to be giving us GPS blips the whole time, and it didn't until it landed. He had a lot of money wrapped up in the thing, so if we didn't find it, it was kind of like a big scary thing. We all had really nice glass on it, and we were driving through the desert, all hanging off the back of a pickup truck looking for the thing, and that was really incredible. And he's not to just talk about Sagan, but I just want to mention one thing is just how great a guy is. He's really taught me so much of what I know, and wherever my career is at, I owe him a really good chunk of it. He's just an incredible guy all the way around. On top of being an amazing artist,
Well, if you want to
really inspiring.
If you want to hook up myself and our audience up, dude, I would love to get his ass on this show.
Well, I'll let him know I did it, and I'll let him know I had a good time, and give him a contact, and see what he says. I can't really speak for him, but he's a great guy.
Yeah, I figured I'd put that out there. Work my connections.
For sure. That's part of it, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So when you're first doing your early work, your pendants and stuff, were you getting into the carving and stuff then, or were you mostly just doing like just shapes and what have you?
I did a lot of vortex marbles and spiral pendants and stuff like that. I didn't really get into more sculptural type stuff until I started doing some like aquatic sculptural stuff. Got really into doing like crabs and tropical fish. I was kind of an aquarium enthusiast at the time. I started just, like I said, with the aquatic stuff, I started doing more carving and sculptural stuff like at that point, but, not really a whole lot,
Yeah. So just kind of recently you've gotten into more of the grinding and cutting and stuff in your work?
Yeah. I just started doing kind of cold working recently. We've got a diamond saw at the shop, and I have access to it, and I have a bunch of leftover cabs and stuff that just aren't quite perfect, and so I just kind of went over there and started playing with it, cutting stuff into random shapes and piecing them together randomly and that type of thing, and just kind of seeing what came out of it. And what came out of it, my Scarburst pendant shape is one thing that kind of came out of there, and I've got a couple other things that I haven't quite unleashed yet, but I'm just starting to get into cold working, and I think the next thing I'm going to kind of do is the lapidary wheel. Kind of go to that a little bit. I have some definite ideas, and we got a drill in there, so I think I might buy myself a nice drill bit, kind of do some drilling and stuff, But I kind of take it slow with the cold working. I'm really focused right now on just kind of figuring out my hollow shaping and making nice quality rigs that are solid.
Yeah, for sure. Are you making your own tube poles and stuff, or are you buying the stuff pre-made?
No, right now I'm doing stuffies to make most of my tubing.
Okay.
I'm about to go pick up a vacuum today, a little vacuum pump with a foot pedal from Harbor Freight. I think like $200 or something like that. I think I can do some more, make larger quantity of tubing in a faster amount of time with less waste that way.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all the other guys are doing it. The stuffies are great if you're just doing small solid color sections, or you just want a little bit of detail in there with some lines and stuff. But I think you can get it a lot cleaner with a vacuum, and you can, like I said, have a lot less waste. Yeah,
because then you can take that and start getting into doing big milli poles and all kind of fun shit when you start doing the vac stacks. It's fun.
Yeah. Right now I don't have much detail to my tubing. I'm kind of just doing solid colors. Recently, I started doing translucent stuff, which is much less forgiving.
Yeah.
The flaws are there for everyone to see. So, I'm kind of focused on that right now. And kind of where I see my style going, intricate tubing is really amazing to me, but it's just not what I'm focused on right now. I'm really into like the shaping right now. Just seeing what kind of crazy shapes I can come up with and that type of thing. So I need to come up with a signature tubing style, but maybe a little further down the road.
Yeah, well, I agree with what you're saying, and I think what you're doing, you should just like hang on to for a bit. I like the solid color canvas that you're doing, because that really makes your cabs and the other extra work you're adding to them really stand out. It's pretty cool. But like you're saying, because I myself personally, like my work, I'm all about shape and aesthetic and look. I've been working a lot more clear lately, just because I enjoy that, that aesthetic, clean line, the shiny glass, the whole 9 yards, and not really having to put a lot of color or even money into it, really. And you still have this amazing aesthetical valued piece that then you can add adornments to if you want, like what you're doing. It's
right.
It's fun.
Well, like I said, the thing about working clear, transparent or translucent glass is it's much less forgiving. If you have flaws in your optics or your weld's a little off or crooked or whatever, it's there for everyone to see. So it's a real good way of, at least for me anyways, of kind of showing myself where I need to improve. And
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's less forgiving. I can cheat less with clear glass. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what I find too, like with the vac stacks and stuff, some colors, it's like you get like the slightest little crack inside the piece, and then sometimes that clear skin will like come inside the color, like in the crack, when you go to try and heal it, and then that crack is like it's not there anymore, but the scar's there, in a sense, which sucks.
Yeah.
But with what you're doing, you can just throw a cab on top of that bitch, and you never know.
Well, I've done that before. I'm like, fuck, that's not going anywhere. I'll put a cab there, and sometimes that yields really good results. I'll be like, a cab looks really good there. I'm glad it.
Hell yeah, happy accidents.
Yeah, and I've actually gotten good at fixing cracks to an extent. I just, even if I fix a crack and even if the scar is relatively minimal, it's like, gosh, I know it was there. Like the piece is already kind of like tainted to me.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm trying to get really good at making sure the glass is always happy, so it's not cracking on me. And when it does, I'm trying to get really good at like fixing it as well as I possibly can, taking as much time as possible or as necessary to fix it. And then, if it's not perfect, then I'll finish it up and give it to a buddy and make a new one.
Hell yeah. What kind of torch you running on?
I have a Delta Elite GTG.
Okay. Nice.
Elite. Yeah. Got it about a year ago, and at the time, or maybe it was like, I don't know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. At the time, I was like, I'll never need a bigger torch. This is the biggest torch I'm ever going to need. And already I'm thinking I want a 3-stage torch.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I love that torch, so it's great. It works out great for me. My last torch was a Bethlehem Bravo, and it was a very precise torch, but it just didn't have the heat that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And before then, I was on a Nortel Major Minor, and I loved how it fumed, but just, it was kind of a clunky torch. And I started off on a little National. So I've definitely been incrementally upgrading throughout the years.
Yeah, and damn, dude, it's fun talking about this shit because like your process, even like going back to before you blew glass, like it seems like the steps you're taking, like you're just taking that turtle pace. You're not like the hare, hauling ass to the finish line. You're just like slow and grow, through your process of this, and it's so important. Like it kind of, I don't know I don't want to say irks me, but I guess that for lack of a better term, to see like newbies that go out and buy a GTT right away, and it's like awesome. I'm proud of you for doing that, but it doesn't give you the appreciation to start off in the very bottom of the barrel. And then I'm not saying a National is the bottom of the barrel. It's just like in terms of like the heat base and really learning your glass. And because that's what I started on was a National, and I went from National to a minor bench burner, just a little minor, and I was making fucking bubblers and all kind of stuff on this little tiny bead torch. But it really taught me the foundation by working slow, and not really having that heavy heat base. And now I've been rocking my Carlisle for like 13 years now or something like that. But I'm at a point now where I'm ready to upgrade for sure.
Yeah, if it's something that you don't know you're all in on, I never recommend going all in with your money.
Yeah.
If it's something where you're like, hey, this is me now, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, no matter where you're at, I feel like get what you can afford, get the nicest torch you can afford, and kind of, save yourself the hassle of having to upgrade every couple of years. But I mean, if you've got a million other things going on and this is just kind of like a little hobby for you, I wouldn't go out and get some triple stage monster and, burn your shed down and,
yeah, exactly.
destroy your glass with heat and all that kind of stuff. I don't really see a lot of that. What I see a lot of is ballers working on torches that I feel like they probably outgrew, but that they love,
Dude, there's so many Red Max workers out there that I'm like blown away. Like, what are you using for a torch? Oh, I'm using a Red Max. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I love it, you know?
It's a pride thing. I don't know, like, at some point they're just like, nah, this is my torch. I ain't changing it. You know?
It's neat. What are you looking at getting into, like a kabuki or a samurai or something?
Eventually, I've got a bunch of stuff on my list to upgrade right now. Before I get another torch.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely on the list. Right now we're trying to get into a bigger shop. We're currently a 1,500 square foot shop. We want to get into like a 5,000 square foot deal.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And it's going to mean, a little bit more rent and some deposits and stuff like that. So right now I'm just trying to make sure my money's squared away for the big move. And then once that happens, I'll start, doing some more equipment upgrades and stuff.
Hell yeah. Well, that's pretty badass though, man, that those guys are all like, you're all coming with me. When you guys move like that, it's cool.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm surprised they're giving me that option. Like, yeah, no, cool. This will be awesome. I was working in a mini school bus or a short bus, when I first got my first little shop, and to go from working in a short bus to a 5,000 square foot, mega complex is insane. In less than 10 years, that's just insane.
Yeah, it's badass. Yeah, I went from my garage and I just got 1,200 square foot spot. So it's definitely it's good for now. But I've got so many dreams and goals. I've already outgrown the space.
Yeah, that's the thing. When it's empty and you're looking at it, you're like, wow, man, I'm never gonna fill this up. And then a couple years in, when you're tripping over each other and you're waiting for each other to walk to the kiln because there's not enough room for everybody to go to the kiln at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, 5,000 square feet would be awesome.
So do you guys have like universal kilns that y'all share and work out of?
Everybody kind of has their own kiln, and then we all share too. So when I come in the morning, I turn my kiln on, but by the time everyone gets in, they'll throw their stuff in mine to heat it up, and we're all homies, and we all kind of share everything, and everybody kind of respects everybody's stuff, so it's never really been we've never really had issues about who's using whose stuff or anything like that.
Yeah,
we got
important.
4 big AIM kilns, and so there's generally plenty of room for everybody's things.
Mm-hmm.
Unless one breaks, then it can get a little squished, but generally not. And nobody's really doing production work there, so it's not like you got 20 spoons hanging out of a kiln at any time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's good stuff. So there's no production being done out of there at all. You guys are all just doing one-offs.
We still have a little bit. My distributor, Rated R, they work out of there. They've mostly outsourced all their stuff to independent artists around the country. They're working, in their garages and stuff like that. So very few of the items are actually made, in-house anymore. And we're all kind of graduating beyond that too.
Mm-hmm.
All of our careers are kind of, in the upward trajectory right now, and we're all kind of phasing out the production work in-house anyways. It still happens. Like I just made a bunch of little dabbers because they got an order for them, and I was the guy who made them before, and I wanted to make sure they had a happy customer. It's not beneath me to make a dabber or a spoon or anything. I'll do whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
But so we still do some stuff in there, but it's mostly they've given that opportunity to people around the country, so they can, it gives people a good opportunity for their careers to take off. It's a good start.
Yeah, I agree, dude. When you first get going, production and finding a distributor is like one of the ideal things you can do. It isn't always a guaranteed check, but if you can keep up the product line and have a multiple line that you're selling to a distributor, it definitely helps you get your line worked out. It fine-tunes your glass. It gets your equipment knowledge going down. I mean, it's so huge. And do it for a couple of years, so you can get some money in the bank and really pad your wallet and keep upgrading.
Yeah, it paid my bills, and it was a great. I wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for those 2 years. And it's a wonderful opportunity if you're making consistent work and you're filling those orders on time, and your stuff is interesting and it's not sloppy, you'll do great with a distributor, and they'll represent your work really well. They've taken my stuff to AGE or Champs and coming back with so many orders that I've been overwhelmed. Like, I don't know how I'm going to make 300 of those in 2 months or whatever. Yeah. I mean, they really reward hard work, and they make sure that your stuff is well represented because they know you're going to fulfill those orders, and you're going to make quality pieces, and you're not going to send them junk and stuff like that. So those people are looking to get a start out there who are really willing to try hard, make decent work, and be consistent at it. They'll be so successful by hooking up with a distributor.
Yeah. Nowadays there's so many. I'm not going to say. I guess there are. I mean, there's a shit ton of distributors out there, but there's really only a handful that are like actually good companies that know what the fuck they're doing, because it's so easy to just say, oh, I'm a distributor, and then next thing you know, you're waiting 6 months to get your check in the mail.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys treated me so good. If I came at them with any design, I'd be like, I want you guys to try this. As long as it wasn't something that was a conflict of interest with any of their other pieces, they'd give it a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
They never say, oh, that's too weird or that doesn't fit our line. They'd be like, yeah, let's give it a shot. It's a quality piece. As long as it was, well done, then they would give it a shot. So I got to the point when I first started, I was just making their designs. But by the time I stopped distributing through them, I probably had 20 or 25 pieces that I had designed myself and that they had all given, an opportunity to sell. And it was a really good way for me to learn new things and to, be creative and design my own pieces while I was still doing, hardcore production work,
Yeah, absolutely.
I was making, 50 of these or 100 of these, but those were things that I designed and that I fine-tuned and that, I was proud of to make. So I really enjoyed doing the production work through them for the time I did. I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, me too. So now that you're not doing that anymore, what do you how are you selling your work?
So, it's still it's only been a month
Yeah.
since I've gone like 100% solo, and thus far I haven't had any problems. I've said it before, but I'm lucky to work in a shop with a bunch of ballers, and we get buyers just rolling through looking for stuff. And pretty much if I make something nice and I put it on the shelf, someone's going to want to buy it. So, and then, so if I make something, I put it on the shelf and I'm willing to wait a little bit, it'll sell by itself usually.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'm not trying to sound cocky because it's only been a month, but so far it's been really easy. The other thing is we've got legal pot here in Washington.
Yeah.
And, there's recreational stores popping up everywhere and they all want pipes to sell. And they're all kind of in that price range where I'm at right now, a couple $100 rigs, $300 rigs. That's kind of like that sweet spot for them. So
on the retail or the wholesale side?
They told me they average buying between $100 and $400 for like a rig. And so they retail it between $2 and $8,
nice. Yep.
For like a that's their range for like headies, basically. They're headies. Anything more expensive they don't want to sit on. They don't feel like they're going to sell. And they sell spoons and stuff too, but as far as like oil rigs, so it's a good spot for me right now.
Yeah, man, that's huge. Yeah, to have that ability, like I find that. I mean, you're fortunate to, like you're saying, like where you are now with the guys that you're with and the girls that you're with, to be in that community and really learning. But like, I'm finding that those that like myself who have been in this for 10 plus years now, that aren't in the medical states or even like legal states, like once our states get that shit, like I'm hoping here in the next election we're gonna get it this time around. We're all set. Like it's like we've been working our ass off for like over a decade, and now that the laws are changing at the perfect time to where all of our skill sets are good, our product line's fine-tuned, our name's out there, and now we're like, come on, change the fucking laws so I can make this happen. I don't want to move,
It's different, it's really changing really fast. When these marijuana stores first opened up in Washington, they weren't doing very good because they were charging a ridiculous amount of money, and but now they're rocking. They're doing really great. The marijuana is like very, very affordable, and they're looking to sell other stuff. They're and I've had them seeking me out. I don't know why.
No, that's good.
What else you have? They email me and I'm like, this is what I got. And then they email me a week later. I'm like, what do you think I made in a week?
Yeah, like 2 pieces or something.
Yeah, like I don't know how you think this works. I don't know. So, I mean, I'm in a really lucky position, and I'm in that very lucky position in a marijuana legal state. So right now I haven't had to actually think much about sales. It just kind of happens.
Okay.
It's, that'll change, and I'm going to have to get a little more savvy. But for right now, I'm just focused on upping my skills,
Yeah, it's an awesome opportunity, and to go on that whole luck concept. Like I hear that term used a lot, and I think luck plays into some of it, but I really think like it's the hard work and putting yourself in that right position for that little bit of luck that's in there to really grab a hold, and then the luck just turns into, opportunity, You know,
Yeah.
that you yourself have worked your ass off to get to that point to when the opportunity came, you're ready to say, yeah, man, I'm all about it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. You know, it's not just about luck; it's about seizing opportunity, and it's about making the right calls. And you know, there's probably people out there that you know, that work really, really hard and haven't had some of the great opportunities I've had. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really appreciative of the opportunities I've had thus far, and I don't pretend that they're going to continue. You know, it's all about hard work. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you find yourself getting into going to the trade shows and stuff? Like once you start getting on any kind of stock, if you get a chance to have any kind of stock or inventory?
I'd like to. You know, as a visitor, as a guest, I went with Rated R in January to Age last year, or this January, the beginning of 2015. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
and it was a real eye opener for me. I'd never been into anything like that before. Walking through the artist arena, I mean, you could sense, you could just kind of feel how important it was in there. You know, like there's just like, you know, $10 million worth of glass all in one fucking tiny room, you know, and you could just feel it in the air. It was just it was really strange. It was kind of a surreal moment. I definitely would love to one day be a part of something like that. But I'm also, you know, I'm kind of an introvert. I don't like traveling to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'll definitely do it, but it's not probably going to happen for another year or so at least.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm gonna get out there myself this January, February, whenever it's coming, and
It's really cool, and
yeah,
there's like-minded people everywhere, and they all party, and you know, I really had a good time. You know, I have kids like you have kids, or so you know what it's like. But I got to Vegas and I slept a lot. I was like, oh my god, it's my hotel was pretty quiet, you know,
uh-huh.
and so after doing a lot of the glass stuff, those guys would go out and party, and I just sleep, and that was the first time I got to sleep in like 5 years.
Yeah,
you know?
man, take fucking advantage of it. You can go back home and party and smoke all you want.
No, that's how I party, man. I just take a good nap.
Hell yeah, it's my kind of party.
Yeah.
And it keeps you out of trouble too, man. Like you don't go there and blow your wad on a fucking stripper or casino bullshit, you know?
Well, and you know, Vegas is just so I can't. I don't even want to get into how much Vegas is weird, but it's just the whole thing's just so fake and strange, and there's so loud, and there's just people everywhere, and they don't know why they're there, and nobody's really having a good time, you know, unless they're
Mm-hmm.
just really shit faced, and that's the only way to like really, you know, you get shit faced and you can handle all those inputs of lights and sounds, and it's
Yeah.
just not. I'm from the Pacific Northwest. It's nice and quiet up here, you know. I like
Yeah.
the woods.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah, Vegas would be complete culture shock. You know?
Yeah, I've been there like I don't know. I've been there like 3 or 4 times just for whatever, you know. And every time I go, I kind of like it less, you
Yeah.
know. And then it's at some point it switched to where I just don't look forward to going. But the AGE show was awesome. You know, if it weren't in Vegas, it would be 10 times more awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna go this year to just to go through the process of going. You know,
Totally worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
Completely worth it. And I think I heard it's going to be at the Hard Rock this year. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I think I heard that. But
Nice.
you know, I just had a really good time. Networking was crazy, fun. Looking at glass up close, you know.
Yep.
I gotta talk with a bunch of ballers about their work in front of their work, and I gotta, you know, introduce myself, and you know, it just felt really good being there, and it was really inspiring. You know, you see all these pictures of Heady Glass on Instagram all the time. It's really kind of tough to put in perspective what they are like in real life, you know. When I had that Scott Deppie Mr. Gray marijuana leaf skull, you know, 2 feet in front of me, I mean, it was like glowing, you know. It was magical, you know. It was like some otherworldly object, and just Instagram can't really convey that.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree. I
God
agree.
bless the person.
Yeah, it's funny too with the Instagram and the pictures on there. It's like there's so many times where I've seen pictures on Instagram and I go to a shop that actually has that item, and it's like a third of the size that I thought it was going to be. You know?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
well, yeah, and I mean that's kind of the internet as a whole. You're only getting kind of like a snapshot of like the full story, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
sometimes when an item's smaller, it's like, whoa, that's cool. It's smaller than I thought. And sometimes you're like, oh, that's smaller than I thought. You know, it just really depends. But you're only getting, a full chunk of the story, and it's really easy to take a photo of something from its good side.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
When you see it in person, it really kind of brings home the craftsmanship of some of these, super high caliber, $100,000 pieces.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it truly is. So on the whole family side, dude, how old are your kids?
Yeah, I've got two daughters. One's 5 and one's 1.5.
Oh, nice.
And I love them to death. They're both crazy little kids. My wife and I have been together for 15 years now.
Wow.
And they're all super supportive of me. My wife got into glass before I did. She sat down on a torch, 5 years before I ever did. And she was making, spoons about 10 years before I ever did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she eventually, I wouldn't say gave up. She just she decided she didn't want to do it anymore. I was getting way into it and she wasn't. So, and, we were concerned about the health effects of when she was pregnant and then when she was breastfeeding afterwards. So she took 2 long breaks from glass blowing. And by the time she was ready to go back, she just wasn't feeling it. She's just like, yeah, I think I'm done. She's going to school to be a computer hacker now.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, or a programmer, cybersecurity expert. She's gonna hack into the system or something.
Yeah, fucking A, that's awesome. Maybe she can help me with my soundboard and get my shit together here at the podcast.
She'll just, quick move of the finger. She'll have it all fixed.
Yeah, from Washington too.
I watched the movie Hackers. It'll blow your mind.
Oh, I've seen it, dude. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's actually you ever listen to Tim Ferriss, the Tim Ferriss show?
I don't know.
If you listen to podcasts, dude, his shows, he's got some incredible guests on there, and he had a guy who was pretty much the dude that shut down MySpace back when MySpace was going, and this kid, I guess when he was like 15, he wrote his first code, and then got into, I think he was 19, and he started his first company, and they were like a hub for phone services for companies, and then they turned it into like a cloud service for phones, for records and what have you. And just for shits and giggles, when he would be home off of work, I mean, this kid's making gazillions of dollars. He even told a story where he bought a Lotus and had never driven one before and couldn't drive it. So he Googled how to drive a Lotus when he left the parking lot of the dealership to find out how to drive that bitch home. So, kind of crazy shit. And then he Googled how to get out of a Lotus because he didn't want to feel like a dumbass getting out of his car because it's like so small and tight. So there's like a YouTube video on how to properly get out of a Lotus, kind of shit. But he was telling, yeah, right. But he was telling the story, man. It was like 19, 20 years old. He's home and MySpace is on, and he decided to. He wanted to. I guess they had limited picture uploads to like something like 12, and he wanted to put 13 pictures on there. So he found a way to get into their code and change it to where he could upload like 16 pictures. And then he's like, well, if I could do that, I can do this now. And like he made it to where in the bio, if you became his friend, it would automatically, because like you remember MySpace, the whole bullshit.
Oh yeah, my MySpace page was epic.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, it was beyond. It was an art form in itself.
Well, you had it set up in like who are your heroes, and it was like mom and dad and my sister and Jesus or whatever. And then he would have it. I forget the kid's name, but it would say especially, and it would have his name in there. And that was like once you became his friend, you got a worm that went into your thing that automatically put that into your hero thing. So it would say like mom, dad, Jesus, and then especially this guy's name. And then if another person friended you, that same worm would then go into that person's thing. So he didn't realize the effect it was going to have, and he was like watching his friend, because it also once you would friend somebody else, it would automatically friend him also. So like by the end of the day, he had like 100 and something thousand new friends or followers or whatever, and by the end of the week, it hit 1 million. And he sent MySpace an anonymous email saying, hey, by the way, when I do this, this, and this happens, just so you guys know, so you can take care of it, so you guys can stop this from happening, right? They did nothing about it. And then like 2 weeks later, frickin' Rupert Murdoch purchased MySpace for whatever, hundreds of millions of dollars. And then 2 weeks after that, they shut it down because they couldn't get rid of this worm. It completely went viral and fucked the entire system up. And then, like, 6 months later, he's coming out of his office. Nothing happened to him. He's coming out, and these 4 dudes are out downstairs in suits waiting for him. and he was arrested. His companies were searched. He got home in handcuffs, and his girlfriend's on her bed, pretty much naked, with a towel wrapped around her, and they were woken up from the FBI, guns drawn, searching their house. Just crazy shit all went down, and he was basically. They told him he couldn't touch a computer for anything that had to do with anything of a computer for 1 full year. I don't know how they were able to track whether he did or not, but he didn't, type of thing. But
that's I mean,
it's crazy.
I don't really understand computers, I mean, I do, but I don't, they've gotten so user friendly that I don't really know like how they work anymore,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, for sure.
My wife's always been really good about that stuff, and she wants to be a cybersecurity person. I was like, yeah, go for it, whatever that is, go for it.
Oh, dude, that's huge. That's huge industry right now too.
Yeah. So I mean, she's a full-time student right now, and she's still just so supportive of me, and my kids, they're supportive of me, and it's I'm supportive of her, cybersecurity stuff. Like it's I don't know, it's pretty cool for us right now. I love my family so much, and they're just such a huge part of everything I'm doing,
Yeah. So are you working like I know you're obviously not doing a 9 to 5, being you're at the shop at 5 this morning or whatever, but are you doing like a routine schedule during the week to keep that family life work balance going?
Yeah, I mean, that's so important, balancing everything. And it's not always easy,
Yeah.
I try to leave as early as I can so I can be home in time to read them a book, put them to bed, and hopefully have dinner with them. And then I work about 6 days a week. So I make sure that I have one day off to just kind of spend with them and hang out. So much of it is, and somebody told me this a while ago, but it's not about the amount of hours you're spending with your family. It's about how quality it is,
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're just sitting there with them, and you're on your phone or whatever, you're kind of like not attentive, then you might as well just be at work, or might as well just not be there, So finding a balance is really tough, but I'm always just really making sure that even if I'm not there as many hours as I feel like I should be, I'm spending quality time, and when we are hanging out, it's good memories that we're making and stuff. And, like I said, it's such a balance. Like when I spend too much time at home, I feel guilty because I'm not at the shop. I spend too much time at the shop, I'm feeling guilty when I'm not at home. So, I just do my best, and I try not to beat myself up over it, which either way the scale tips, and it changes. But right now, I'm doing like 12-hour shifts at least, and I'm doing like 6 days a week.
Right on.
You just, you got to stay on top of it. It's the type of thing, I can sleep later once I've got this huge bank of skills, and I've got, an overflowing bank account, and I'm driving my Porsche around and shit,
Yeah, exactly. Hell yeah.
But right now I'm still young, and I've got a wonderful opportunity right in front of me, and I'm not gonna waste any hours,
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay. Sweet.
It's my Boro year. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Fucking awesome. Yeah, it was fun when I turned 33. I had a bunch of happy birthdays, like happy Boro year.
Yeah, it's my Boro year, and it truly is my Boro year. I'm feeling it, so it's good.
Yeah, man. It's interesting. Like I started off 2015, like this is like the year for the glass blower. Like last year was 2014 was kind of like the warm up, like where everybody can kind of see where things were starting to go, even though they've been kind of going that way for a while. But 2014 seemed to be like the catalyst of like, okay, the engine's now built, and this year's been like, all right, now we got the gas pedal going, and we're going. It's pretty neat seeing it all going on. The opportunities are huge.
The scene, it's in full gear right now. It's really incredible watching it, and it's moving so fast. Just looking back like 2 years ago, you're like, whoa, that was only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how fast it's moving, and it's fun watching it grow up like that. It's pretty cool. I feel like it's Boro's year, and it's my Boro year. But 2016 will be even crazier. It'll stay with that trajectory. So
I agree. Yeah, I don't believe in the whole bubble thing. It's like the industry is what it is. It's there's been moments where it's like you're hot or not kind of bullshit, or the trendy things going on and the new colors coming out. But I think all of those who are like 6 months to a year in if they're still in like 3 years later, they'll probably be in for a while. But if like right now it's going so fast, I'm sure for like the newbies out there, it's kind of difficult to like get a grasp of all of it, but also like be patient and want to like get it while it's good. But it's going to be good for a while, so like take your time. But you know what I mean? Like you want to just like really just race for it. But like what you did, and you took your time and really got your shit together. So now you're at where you're at, and you know now you can kill it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the type of thing where I feel like as long as there's innovation happening, it's going to stay just like a rampaging bull. You know, it's not going to stop. And I don't see innovation slowing down at all.
No, I don't either. Yeah.
When people are like, it's a bubble that's going to burst. I'm like, what? Why? Why do you even? I just don't see anything like that happening in anytime soon.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Like we were talking, before we started the show, is like the industry itself and all the offshoots of companies, whether they're the e-nail companies or just like the standard nail companies or whatever. It's like those companies, as they create product line, they then change our way of making product line. And now we're all adapting to where like we've all gone from the 14. Well, really, it's gone from the 18 mil joint to a 14 mil to a 10 mil back to the 14 female. Having these banger hangers that we're making now, and it's like because everybody wants to have something that works for everything. And it makes total sense, but it's like you got to be able to follow the trends and the evolution of not just the glass industry, but the industries that are around us that are following along with our, as we grow and everything. It's pretty neat.
It's really tough to keep up. I mean, we almost need a CNN just for us, just to tell us what's, what the news is of the day, stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Honestly, like I've thought about with this show, like I'm doing 3 days a week right now, but down the road, it'd be fun to have it be like a 7-day a week thing. Even if I had like just a 15-minute snippet update of the day, just something just going on. Because eventually I'm going to start a YouTube channel and start doing some video as well for that. But I've been in talks with 420XM and those cats, and they've got their programming they're going out right now with, and they're hoping they're going to pick up my show for them also to have it out there. So it's I agree though, it's interesting. And like with the podcast companies like Stitcher right now, they have like CNN and different NPR companies that have their podcasts, but it's like the Daily News, and it's like the Daily News podcast.
It's kind of a cool deal. I've honestly, I've never been much of a podcast guy. They're totally entertaining, but while I work, I can't have like, I don't know, I get distracted when there's like a bunch of talking,
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of like discovered your podcast, and I just started listening. It's kind of a cool format. Like it's kind of something cool to listen to other than just music and stuff like that,
Thanks, dude.
I think you should totally expand it. And like a 15-minute little short format deal, like a daily or weekly, just like news headline glass news thing would be really cool,
Yeah, I agree.
I'd totally be down, to get into the shop first thing in the morning and listen to, what was up for the day or the week or whatever for 15 minutes. That'd be totally awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah. Cool.
Yeah, go for it, dude. Do it.
Hell yeah.
Do it.
I'm gonna take notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I've got a podcast coach. He's like, man, I know you're getting a little overwhelmed. Maybe you ought to cut your show back to 2 days a week. And I'm like, yeah. How about 6 days a week? He's like, you fucking crazy? You're already overwhelmed. But what I'm actually doing, it's like, this show is going to go out on Monday, and I'm actually about to record today's show. But I'm going to get into talking about, I'm getting ready to walk away from Disney on a kind of a hiatus. And I walked away in January as a full-time employee to go seasonal. And I actually put my resignation in, and my manager was like, well, don't resign, just go seasonal, and that way you can keep your park perks, and then you can still come in if you're available kind of deal. And because I love it so much being there and the opportunity, it's not even the money that I make there. It's just entertaining people, being on stage, talking to folks, making some badass stuff in glass. And the fact that I'm in fucking Disney, it's just an awesome opportunity. But it's a 3-hour round trip drive. I spend, really my days are 15-hour days when I work there. And I'm doing it sometimes 1 day a week, sometimes 3 days a month. I mean, it's kind of a weird situation right now. So it's like, it's so sporadic. It's caused me to get thrown off my game, where like these past 2 months I've been a complete clusterfuck. Nothing's been scheduling right. None of my shows have come out on time because of this one little thing I'm doing at Disney. So it's like I got to cut that shit out of my mix of what I'm doing right now so I can get my head back on straight and get these things, my glass back in line, my orders caught up, my shop back together, my fucking podcast on schedule. It sucks when, to give up something that you love, but sometimes those sacrifices that we make, that those things that we do love, lead to such bigger things down the road.
Yeah, and if you've made the call and you've thought about it as much as you have, then obviously, I mean, it's the right choice to do. Like as much as you love doing that, it sounds like you want to go all in with Glass. There's no better time to do it than right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Disneyland's the happiest place, or Disney World, I think, in Florida is the happiest place on earth, so that's going to be tough to let go of. But,
yeah, it's like that ex-girlfriend that was really, really good in bed, and it's hard to say no to her,
Yeah, you're like, just one more. No.
Lose my number, please.
No, I mean, it sounds like that is like a really awesome gig. I think that's, just such an ideal opportunity, to be able to be behind a torch and making money and be in the happiest place on earth all simultaneously. Like that's so cool. I totally see why you're doing that, why you made that choice though. I mean, when you're feeling it and you want to go all in on Glass, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
There's no two ways around it. You just got to do it, or you're gonna question yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And because especially when I know myself personally, like when I get so many things going on that I'm trying to juggle, because like I'm very type A leadership role type of personality, where I can dictate and tell people what to do, but it's almost like the control things there as well, where I just want to go do it myself and just like not worry about them doing it, because I know either A, I'll do it better, or B, it'll get done at least, not necessarily better. But then at the points where I get so overwhelmed, I go to do these things and I'm not doing it better. I'm actually doing it worse than the person that would actually do the job, so I'm trying to, like you're saying with that whole life balance thing, like that's my focus right now, is like getting myself in that balance. And then that's part of my show. Like I'm learning as I do this show things about myself that I can then share with you guys in the audience to maybe help people out there that are experiencing the same thing, or may get into a situation down the road where you're dealing with that, and now you have a tool to work with from shit that I've gone through, and shared lessons learned kind of thing.
Well, I mean, back to that life balance thing. I mean, it's such a tricky thing for glassblowers, especially if you're motivated, to be working more. It's so much of what I did to find the time to split between my work and my family is I cut out just like everything that wasn't essential. I mean, I've always kind of been a jack of all trades, master of none, and I was just kind of sick of that. I want to be a master of one trade,
Yep.
And so I've always been a musician. I had a band we played locally, and I loved those guys, and I loved our music, and I had to let it go. It was heartbreaking, but it was taking away from my Glass time, and it was causing me unneeded stress. And I used to collect shit, and I used to travel a lot, and lots of stuff. I've just had to ask myself, does doing this benefit my Glass career right now, and does doing this benefit my family right now? And if the answer is no, I let it go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it sucks. Like I've been collecting, CDs since I was a little kid, and I've been playing drums since I was 12, but like I just don't have time for it, and I have to, admit myself to that, and I've always kind of liked having a part-time job at least, other than Glass, and like I had to let that go. Glass is just so much more important to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Friendships with people that aren't quite, aren't there to support me, those ties just have to get cut,
Yeah, no, it's true, bro. It's that whole circle of five thing. It's like you really find like your circle that you are around or that influences you. You act like those five people in your circle, and the fact that you're now in this amazing circle at your studio, bro, it totally shows in your work.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I mean, and you're right, dude. It's so much of my successes have come from being around such a great group of people. My shop mates and my family and my close friends. They're all really important to me, and like I said, the things that aren't important, they had to go. And it's really making those decisions are tough, but it's really, really helped me out.
Yeah, it's huge, dude. And like you're saying, it's recognizing the weaknesses that we have, and like finding either a way to make them a strength or just to cut them out completely, and not even do it. Like I'm really good with math, and I love math and shit, but I'm terrible with my fucking books. And I'm on a schedule now where like I'm keeping my bookkeeping up, but for the longest time it wasn't that I didn't care about it. I just kept procrastinate and procrastinate, and next thing I know, it's my fucking tax bills due, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I had to hire an accountant because I know that I'm not lazy, but the fact that I don't want to have to sit down and waste time, and it's not that I'm wasting it, but it's just taking the time to do the numbers where I can just pay somebody a little bit extra money, and I could be in the shop making twice that much money, while they're doing my books,
No, I learned a lot from watching these ballers work, and they might have a nice camera at home, but they don't take pictures of their own glass, and
Yep.
they might know how to build a website, but they don't do it for themselves, and they might know PR stuff, but like if you can get someone else to do that, do it. I feel like get yourself behind the torch as much as you can,
Yeah, exactly.
And even little things like going out to dinner or shopping at the mall or watching Walking Dead or whatever. I just cut that stuff out. I feel like what's more important, 1 hour of Walking Dead or 1 hour of hanging with my kids,
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of times I didn't even think about it on that. I'm like, oh, I'm just chilling. I'm watching Walking Dead, but like, dude, it's the same show. Like people are going to get killed by zombies,
Mm-hmm.
Some people are going to get bit and then they're going to come back as there's no reason to sit and watch it. 1 hour of my time could be much, much better put to use.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I started cutting all those things out, and that's definitely like a key to the balance, I had all these little hobbies, and I don't anymore, and I'm so much more happy now. I'll put it that way.
Hell yeah. But it's also at the same time, it's like it's easy to be so focused on work and being creative that you lose the sense of the things that you used to do that were fun, and not even necessarily the creative things like you being a musician, but like for me personally, like I love going and playing frisbee golf or going fishing, and that kind of stuff. So, or going and golfing, so like the extracurricular activities that make my soul happy are where I'm trying to like squeeze in. So like when I take my kids to school, my daughter has to be at school at 7. My son is at school at 8. So him and I, now that the weather's better and it's brighter earlier in the morning, especially now that we're about to have daylight savings, we go play disc golf in the morning before he goes to school. We'll get like 3 or 4 holes in, and it's awesome. Him and I time. He fucking loves it. He's 8 years old, so he's and he's a big kid. He's like in 10 and 11-year-old clothes. So it's fun for me to like watch the progression over the past 2 years of his game. Even like his drives on his throws his discs are fucking amazing. Like he's got an awesome shot now, and he's like, I can see that he's proud of himself and happy with his progression, because when you first start off even as an adult, when you first do something the first time, it's like you're not that good at it, and then you get frustrated wondering why you're not good at something, and then you get older and the more you do it and the better you get. So it's fun to see him at that point now where he's like, yeah, I'm having fun now. I'm not getting upset and crying because I'm getting frustrated because my game isn't that good, So it's it's cool, but it's important we do that kind of stuff. The
little things like that just become so much more important when you're completely focused,
Mm-hmm.
Frisbee golf, like I'm horrible at it. Like I suck. I mean, it's never really been my thing, but like when I do get to practice with my band now, like it just feels so good,
Mm-hmm.
like it's been so long and it just feels so rewarding,
Do you guys still play?
We do, but just for fun. We don't actively write new music. We jam a lot and just kind of improvise.
Yeah,
but
I do the same thing.
We don't gig anymore. It's just so much, with gigs, you got to practice so much leading up to the gig, and then, your whole day's shot moving gear. And I find I'm a drummer and using a lot of the same muscles playing drums as I did blowing glass. I'd find that, like, if I blew glass all day, then I sucked at drumming at night,
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
And I don't know, it just wasn't working. And so now when I do jam with those guys, it's awesome. Like I didn't cut it out of my life entirely, but I mean,
cool.
I admitted that it was causing me problems with my glass, and now when I do jam, it feels good. I've earned that. I've set that time aside for that, and it's like a special thing now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you get to do it means that your wife supports it too, and that's that's huge. Like if I don't know what I would do without my wife, dude. Like,
amazing,
yeah,
amazing. My wife's so supportive of me. She always has been. I'll come home. I'll be like, yeah, look, I spent $700 on supplies this month. I haven't made shit. I just broke a piece, and I and she'll just be like, oh man, that sucks. Well, better luck tomorrow. Like she's told, I think a lot of people out there, their significant others might not be cool with that. you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
No, it's difficult because like I have a buddy of mine who's actually moving down here in January to come work with me, and I'm like I mentioned his name, so I don't want to put it out there, but he was telling me his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend now introduced him to glass blowing, and just recently broke up with him because her reason was she didn't want to date an artist. And I'm like, why the fuck did she introduce you to blowing glass? You know, it's kind of a funny thing, but it's actually worked out for him that she introduced him to it because now he's doing really good. You know. But I mean, it's definitely not for every relationship.
You tell someone, I'm going to quit my job to be an artist, you know, that's kind of a tough sell, you know? And so I'm going to quit my job to, you know, be an artist, make glass pipes. That's kind of even a tougher sell, you know?
Absolutely.
And, you know, for my wife just be like, cool, you know, badass, good luck, you know? It's something special. And it's kind of the same deal as you. I know somebody who was in the opposite position, you know, where their significant other was like, oh hell no, you know, you need to go get a job.
Yeah.
And that pretty much ended his glass career, you know, and we're very lucky in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, man, it makes a huge difference. And, you know, even just like having the support around you and your family and, you know, friends and those that don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, it's like, if you're in a studio with friends, or even if you're at home in your garage and you have a good group of friends, it's not a bad thing to have them come over and hang out. But it's like making sure that you have a good group of friends. It's not having a bunch of lazy ass, you know, stoners hanging out playing video games all day, and not, you know, being motivated, unmotivating you kind of thing.
A little of that's okay, but yeah.
Yeah, a little bit is exactly. I agree. You got to have that. But if it's a full-time gig, yeah, maybe not. I know some full-time stoner video game players that, you know, live off mom and dad's money. That, you know, they were friends of mine that I'm no longer friends with because I didn't want to be around that shit.
No. You know, I'm kind of a video game guy. I don't get to play them much anymore, you know, because I'm way too into glass now. But you know, everybody in my shop was kind of in the same position. We all used to play video games, and we don't now. We've got like all these cool retro games upstairs that nobody ever really plays.
Hell
like
yeah.
Every now and then, someone's like really upset, you know, we'll flip on Grand Theft Auto and like go do a rampage.
Nice.
Shoot down some helicopters and stuff. That's about it, you know.
Yeah, dude. It's and my thing too. It's like from the years of working, my left thumb has been kind of hurting lately, and I'm finding like between using my thumbs for texting, which I have got to stop using, but also I've been playing this game called I think it's called Dead Trigger 2 or something, but it's like it's a game for like your iPhone or iPad. And it's amazing graphics, amazing. Everything is like the game is so well done for being an iOS system game that it's like I want to play it all the fucking time, but I like play it in little increments here and there, you know, just because I want to keep it going. But I know if I sit here for too long, I'm not gonna get shit done, you know. So I get my fix every once in a while.
There's a condition that I forgot what it's called, but it's like basically when you play too much of the same video game, you start seeing it everywhere, you know. Started popping up when people got Game Boys with Tetris. They started seeing like every building was like a Tetris piece, you know. And
that makes sense.
If you can't stop thinking about a video game while you're not playing it, then you should probably stop playing.
Yeah, get some therapy or something.
You know, it's funny though. I do the same thing with glass. Like I look at a tree trunk. I'm like, I could put a Maria in that, you know.
I do the same thing like with car rims and pine cones and all kind of like different I see like, oh my god, there's a Radicello in that bitch, you know, look at that, that's badass. You know,
you know, look at a table leg, like, oh, nice lathe working down there,
exactly,
you know?
I know exactly. It's funny you say that. My neighbor next to me, he's like this guy, he's the greatest neighbor on earth, and he's fucking so smart and intelligent. He's right now in the process, he went and bought himself a 3D printer to manufacture parts to build himself his own CNC machine for doing some wood carving. And I mean, if that just kind of gives you an idea of what this guy's all about, but he's there was a point there, I don't know what the fuck it was.
He sounds like a badass either way.
Yeah, there was something, I don't know where I was going with that shit, complete brain fart. But anyways, the guy's creative.
Well, we're talking about seeing glass and video games in everyday life.
Oh yeah. Him and I were talking about collabing on doing some glass and woodwork together, and he came over and we cut some old trees we had down, and he took some stumps. And we started like looking at like patterns and stuff, and he saw some of the stuff I was doing and was like wanting to incorporate that in his wood, and I was wanting to incorporate some of his wood patterns in my glass. And I'm like, why don't we just incorporate these together, like, you know, type of thing. But then I'm like seeing this 3D printer that he has. So now I've like, I hate, like, my brain sometimes makes me fucking crazy because, like, I have all these, like, bright moments in the shower and all this other crazy shit all the time. But I get these ideas and I'm like, I want to go do this particular thing right now. Like, I want to have them scan one of my little wise guys, my little owls I make, and then do like a 3D printing of it, and maybe make some toys or some shit, or something.
A great idea.
Or make a rig, make a fucking 3D printing of it, just a rig, just to have a plastic fucking rig that I made, type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that 3D printing's nuts. I mean, I just saw that video. I don't know if you saw it, but it's like they're coil potting with a 3D printer.
Yeah, dude. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, fucking nuts, dude. And, I mean, the future is crazy, and the thing is, there's brains out there that are thinking about this stuff,
I know. That's the thing. It's like, how do you even think about that?
Yeah,
it's so neat.
Incredible. But, I mean, back to my earlier point, if you're seeing Tetris pieces and everything, then you should quit playing Tetris. If you're seeing glass everywhere, I feel like you should just make more glass,
Yep, absolutely.
Like, I totally agree. Like, you can't cut everything out. You need something other than glass for kind of sanity,
Mm-hmm.
And I really like it when glass drives me nuts. I like it when I can't sleep because I'm like mentally blowing glass,
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like it when I look at that tree trunk and I'm like, I could bend that real nice or whatever, Like, I don't know. I kind of like that. I kind of feel like I'm kind of blowing glass, even though I'm not behind the torch.
Yeah, bro. There's going back to Tim Ferriss. He was talking about one of his wrestling coaches when he was in high school, and he was taught through a meditation practice where he would literally sit in his living room and would watch a video of like a tape of this wrestling coach. And this was a wrestling. Okay, this was a coach that he hadn't had yet. This was a guy that was like a world-renowned wrestling coach. And he would watch this guy's YouTube videos and watch how this guy coached, just the coaching process, and then would sit in his living room and mentally visualize this coach actually coaching him. And he was able to take this guy's coaching lessons and use it for himself and became a world-class wrestler just from visualizing being coached by this guy that never physically actually coached him. And the glass is the same fucking thing, dude. When I teach the glass, I'm like, when you are balling up a glass and you're sitting at a red light, think about what you were doing when you were balling up that glass and what you were doing wrong or what you could change or what you did right. Or if you're trying to come up with something new, like when you're laying in bed before you go to sleep, like really think about that process of the creation of making that thing. I love it, dude. I love sitting in bed and making glass.
Yeah, I mean, really thinking about it comes first. Our final product is more, it's a manifestation of our thoughts. Anything that we make, we've got to think about it first. And why not do that homework at home? And even better, if you can't turn it off, even better. If you just can't stop thinking about glass, you're in the zone. That's you've really kind of cracked the code a little bit. You're starting to see through the matrix.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's so true. Yeah, man. Visualization is huge. I mean, visualization in general with life and anything you do is huge, especially when you become a creative person. And then getting to the creativity of what we're doing, like especially when there's all this new scientific stuff that's coming out, and it's neat to really think about how you can build something in your head and then get a piece of paper out and write it on paper and then actually physically make the thing. And next thing you know, you have this from your brain to an actual 3D object that came out. So.
Yeah. No, it's like, they train basketball players to just envision themselves, sinking free throws.
Mm-hmm.
They get better just by doing that. And, like I said, if you can't turn off the glass, you're doing something right. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and it is that fiery, passionate addiction as well. It's, I don't know, if I go a day or two without doing it, dude, I go crazy.
Oh, I mean, same here. I think a lot of us do. And I mean, it ebbs and flows. There's some days where I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm not feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And I still force myself to work, but I mean, just like anyone, there's days where I've got other things on my mind, but, especially lately, it's just like, I can't stop thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
And, once that starts, it really starts showing up in your work, I mean, I see it happen with other people too. They kind of get this weird obsessive thing, they get this gloss in their eyes and they stop talking as much and they start getting more into their work and working later hours and, crazier things start coming out of the kiln,
Yeah.
throwing yourself all in and kind of driving yourself nuts with it, kind of yields some pretty crazy good results sometimes.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Well, yeah, man. So I guess to kind of move forward, we'll take a quick break to thank our sponsors, and then we will get ourselves into the lightning round. It is said that at the very moment the sun sets below the horizon, a flash of green light appears called the green flash. This unique occurrence happens daily, but only seen by a few. Green Flash Glass chose this name to symbolically represent the unique beauty, simplicity, and good feeling experienced when using their product. Unique to the experience at sunset. Uniquely relaxing. GreenFlashGlass.com. All right. Quick break as always. I'm sure you've heard the show, so the lightning round is it's about a half dozen questions, and if you want to give me a 30 to 60-second answer on them, you can expound upon them if you'd like. We can go on for half an hour on an answer if you like, even though it is the lightning round. But yeah, man, so let's get it going. And the first question I always like to ask is if there is a living glass artist that you have not yet worked with, who is it and why?
I haven't worked with very many people at all, so I've got like a huge list of people I'd love to work with, but Gordman Glass, I just love his work and his attachments, and if I ever get to work with him, I'll be a really happy dude.
Hell yeah. What are your top 5 favorite colors in glass?
Dude, I don't even know. I still like slime a lot. I like translucent slime a lot, still. And I like dark amethyst a lot. It's a cool purple. Mm-hmm. It's a cool substitute for black. I kind of like Paramore white. It's kind of an obscure white that looks really good in certain applications. I like double amber purple because it's my old go-to. It's been around forever, and it looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it.
And I don't know, but cobalt, whatever.
Hell yeah.
Because it's OG, why not?
Yeah, exactly. One of the originals. So, in the shop, are you a TV, a radio, or both?
I prefer music. Every now and then, if we put on an old shitty movie that I don't have to pay attention to, that's awesome. Cheesy 80s movies, we play a lot. I really like just old stupid shit. But I prefer music. I just got the Google Play Music. They have every album ever, and they also have radio stations and curated playlists and stuff. And I'm not shilling for them or anything. I just really like the app, and I got a free trial of it, and it's just been wonderful. I just listen to music all day, and we all take turns kind of DJing and putting stuff on, and it's all about the music. It's a good, it's a great way. Being a glass blower is a good way to discover new music. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I agree, bro. That's why I like Pandora. I've discovered so much music and artists that I was like, who the hell is this? And then I gotta get a paper and pencil and write it down or do a screenshot just to remember who it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm all about the music, and being a musician too. I'm kind of a music snob. I like showing off the new bands I've discovered and stuff to my shop mates.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Hell yeah. So what's your worst injury in the studio?
When I first started, I sent some solid 16 mil kind of through the side of my finger, and it kind of touched the bone a little bit. Started bleeding. I've never seen blood come out of me like that fast.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and I kind of fainted a little bit. I was like, oh, my stars, and I kind of fell down. And I woke up. There's blood on everything. It looked like a scene out of Carrie, and I went upstairs. I stumbled upstairs, and I dressed up my wound, and my skin was all pale and shit, and I kind of got my wits, and I finally 2 or 3 hours later I went back out to the shop, and my torch was still on and stuff.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I just it was when I first started. It really kind of put things in perspective about there is some danger here. I got to be careful. That finger still feels weird when it gets cold out from time to time.
Yeah, a little nerve damage or something in there.
Yeah, and I've had a couple kind of nasty burns like anyone else. Other than that, nothing bad.
Cool. Hell yeah. If you could describe the sound of glass cracking in one word, what is it?
Fuck. No, I'll just say fuck. That's the word. That's the sound.
Cool.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's always a good one.
Yeah.
And our last and final question: if you were stranded on an island and all you had at your hands there was a studio that had a kiln, all your gases, and a torch, what 5 items would you bring?
Tweezers. Definitely tweezers. And I'd bring I'd bring a finished bong and a big bag of weed and maybe Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon. And I'd probably just stare off at the sunset.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, if possible, I'd maybe throw, the kiln. I'd convert the kiln into some sort of message in a bottle device and throw it out in the ocean to send for help.
Beautiful.
Glass would be a concern at that point.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I like asking the question, because I'm always I'm looking for the outside the box answers. It's kind of fun. Yeah, that's badass. So before we let you go, dude, if you can give our community any parting piece of advice, and then also how we can find you out there in cyberspace.
Yeah. Well, first I'll do the shameless self-promotion. It's Skar Glass on Instagram, SKARGLASS. And that's probably the best way to find me. I'm on Facebook too, but I'm not as attentive to Facebook, so I've missed out on some important messages. I don't know if we can do this or not, J. Michael. I'd like to kick you down a pendant for you'd maybe give away to one of your listeners or something.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Let's do it. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so we can figure that out afterwards. But yeah, we'll definitely do something like that.
Yeah, I can throw it on the newsletter that I have. It'll give people a little incentive to go on there and subscribe to it and stay in touch with the show too.
Badass. So yeah, we'll definitely do that. But yeah, follow me. It's at Skar Glass. As far as parting words of advice, I'd say go all in. If it's something you really love to do, and you're willing to make the sacrifices necessary, then you're gonna succeed. And just keep it up.
Hell yeah.
If I could go back in 10 years, I'd probably just spend more time blowing glass. I'd put it that way.
Fuck yeah. And dude, I totally forgot. I wanted to talk about your little, and we'll make it quick, but your little health predicament that you had a couple months back.
Oh yeah. That's kind of delayed our interview.
Yeah.
So I have now I know I have a thing called TMJ, which is temporal mandibular joint disorder of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to I had some tooth pain, and I went to a dentist, and it was kind of like a dungeon, and they had like leaky ceilings, and they had like rusty tools.
Oof.
And
something out of
the nurse
Saw.
was like, yeah, the nurse was like, you need a root canal, blah blah blah. The dentist comes in, he's all like, where's the patient? And
Igor walks in behind him.
yeah. They drilled out my teeth, and it hurt horribly. And then he left, and the nurse is like, you didn't finish. You're gonna have to come back and get it finished. Apparently, halfway through the thing, he just got bored and left. I don't know.
God.
But my jaw was stuck shut for a month and a half afterwards. The disc, the TMD or TM, I forgot what it's called. The actual disc in your jaw that holds the bottom part to the top part. In that dental fucking craziness, it slipped out of place, and so now I kind of got like a permanently fucked up jaw. I can open it up and I can eat again, but it was a month and a half of liquid foods, and I was talking funny, and I had to be careful. I can't take too big of bong hits or anything, and it was horrible. I mean, it was a nightmare, and it definitely kind of made me think about the future of my glass, how long I can be doing it for. That type of thing. When you have a health scare, it puts shit in perspective,
Yeah, man, it's that whole importance, too, of having an emergency fund put aside, so if you can't work for like 3 months or some shit, because some doctor's a fuck-up.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have state health insurance, but still, it cost me a ton of time at work. I was in a lot of pain. I mean, it's not, on the grand scale of things, it's not that serious, but still, it cost me a lot of time. It was really scary at the time. It's I still have to do like monthly doctor appointments and physical therapy and all that. It's going to be a thing I'm dealing with for a long time. But it like I said, it really kind of it puts things in perspective. And like you said, it's kind of good to think about those things as an independent artist or an independent, self-employed, whoever. You want to make sure that because if you're not healthy and you can't work, then you can't really do anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
your health actually has to come before everything, before your family, before your job, before everything. Your health has to come first, because if you don't have that, you're not going to be able to take care of anything else.
Yeah.
So, and they said it could have been caused by stress. I don't believe them. I think that guy did something weird to my mouth. He was a monster. He was a monster.
Like I said, it sounds like something out of Saw or some shit. Holy Jesus.
That's what it felt like. I swear they didn't strap me down, but they might as well have.
Yeah. Like the nurse comes in a little tiny outfit and her tits are sticking out of the top of her shirt and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. No, it wasn't really as bad as I make it out to be, but it actually was. It was horrible.
Yeah.
People are scared of the dentist for a reason. Don't go. They'll fuck up your whole jaw. I'd rather have one fucked up tooth than an entire jaw that I can't open.
Yeah, dude. My wife actually on Wednesday. What's today? Friday. Yeah, Wednesday. She on Saturday of the past weekend, she broke one of her teeth. She grinds her teeth sometimes, and like the tooth was fractured, and she didn't realize it. So like a big chunk came out of it. And then so she went to the dentist, and the dentist, I told her a heads up, like they may have to like do some kind of surgery or some shit. And sure as shit, she goes to the dentist, and he's like, yeah, we can't pull this. It's too close to your sinus cavity. And they immediately sent her to the other person to go get a root canal done, and it's like you're sitting there for 2.5 hours with your jaw dislocated like a fucking python or an anaconda or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, teeth suck, and grinding them is something that I did a lot while I was blowing glass. It's a risky move or whatever. I'm sitting there like grinding my teeth, trying not to stress, and I did it in my sleep, and that was part of the problem.
Oh yeah.
Right now my jaw doesn't open up enough for them to go back in and finish that root canal that Dr. Crazy started. So like it's still kind of weird, but I mean I can work. And I'm not in any pain anymore, and I can eat burgers again.
That's important.
I couldn't eat burgers. I tried once. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna figure it out. And I went and got a bunch of burgers, and I just tried to like extrude them through my teeth. Just tried like forcing them in there, and I ended up with like burger like all over me. It was so pathetic and sad. Just sitting there like, crying, just like, covered in burger, and my teeth are all gross and. Yeah, take care of yourself.
Gotta eat them burgers.
Pick a good dentist. That's a good one.
Yeah, dude, ours is awesome. I would if you all lived in Florida, I would recommend mine to you. So,
the other thing is I was biting on my blowhose on the mouthpiece,
mm-hmm.
and I think that was causing some problems. So I recommend thinking about that too.
Yeah, it's so funny. I know we're kind of going on here, but like. That's a bad habit I have. I won't even have a blowhose attached to my fucking tube or blowing air into it, and that some bitch is still in my mouth, and I'm like talking to my benchmates with this thing in my mouth like a dumbass. It's like just drop it out of your mouth.
It's just something I never thought about. It's kind of up there with posture. You don't think about it till it becomes a problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's huge.
So there's my parting words for people. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, once again, man, it's been a pleasure, and keep kicking ass out there, dude. And we'll let everybody know here very shortly. Your show's gonna come out on Monday. And coming up here, and I'll do a little announcement in the intro, and then man, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you for contributing that to the show. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate the opportunity. It's been fun.
Hell yeah, man! And again, give your guys at the shop a hello for all of us, and I'd love to get. It'd be fun to come out to your studio and do like a round table discussion with everybody or something.
I'm sure they'd be down. I'll put in a good word for you, bud.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Hell yeah! Right on, man. Well, enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Our homeboy, see you. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show. If you have any questions, comments, or remarks, please leave them in the show notes page area where it says comments. We'll see you soon. Have a wise night.